Morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us again for the last session for this year. Just a bit of housekeeping. The webinar, as always, will be recorded, and links to it will be sent out to you in a couple of days afterwards. So if some of you are late starting, although you won't have heard me speaking, you will know, you'll be able to catch up on anything you missed. Okay, so slightly different format again this month. No guest speakers, so you're going to have to put up with me for the full half hour. And what I'm going to do is bring you up with announcements Microsoft have made during their Ignite conference last month. But what I want to do before we get into the news from Ignite, I thought I'd take a quick look at why everybody is getting so excited and talking about AI in the last few months, and what has changed there. Okay, so as you all know, AI isn't new, and it's been around for years. Each of you will have been using it day by day, even if you don't know it. It's been used by your antivirus companies for years. They have AI looking at all your emails, all the files and everything on your systems to try and identify viruses. Because of the vast amount of different viruses out there, having people doing that would have been an enormous job. It's also used in your voice assistants like Siri and Alexa. It's used in Teams for doing your transcription. It's also used in things like Netflix, where it takes your viewing history, your demographic data, so that when you go into Netflix, what you see has actually been personalized for you by the AI in the background. You can develop your own AI as well, and people like the NHS have developed AIs to look at X-rays, to look for different diseases like cancer, and you can use it for analysing patterns in your own data. This is what I would call traditional AI, and is based on machine learning, using an algorithm that you're creating, a data model, and training data for that model, where you train it to come up with what you want. Now, you can use tools from Azure to do this yourself if you feel you have applications to go down this route. But what is all the fuss about? Well, what has happened is Gen AI, or generative AI, has come onto the scene. This is slightly different, where the model in your AI is based on a large language model, or what they call an LLM. In reality, you can think of it as a table in a database with a vast amount of words that have been taken from documents and the internet to create a vast list of words. However, unlike a traditional table, each of these words has a large number of relationships with other words that have been created by the AI, so that it links the words together. Not only does it link these words like dog and bark, so that you know that those two words could be used in a sentence, but it creates weights on these words to know how important they are with other words. Now, these relationships have been created by the AI using neural networks, and these try and replicate what's going on in your brain. The exciting thing now from this Gen AI is it can actually generate its own content, original content based on prompts you provide to it. So it allows you to summarize a document. It allows you to create a document based on a prompt you give, and it goes out to the website. You can get it to create PowerPoint. It can analyze data within spreadsheets. So for these large language models, one of these is ChatGPT from OpenAI, and I'm sure you've heard a lot about them, especially over the last few weeks. But Microsoft is using OpenAI's ChatGPT as the basis for its CoPilot. What Microsoft plans are to provide everyone with access to GenAI, to assist them with their day-to-day tasks in Word, Excel, Outlook, etc. Or if we take Microsoft marketing speak, they want to democratize AI. So this is why you've got all the press, all the announcements we are seeing from around AI. So hopefully this helps everybody understand why all the excitement around AI at the moment, and why Microsoft are pushing this down everybody's throats and investing so much in it, to be fair. So moving on to Ignite then, you'll not be surprised, especially with my introduction, that a lot of the content is going to be focused around AI and Gen AI specifically. Microsoft are making a massive investments in their Azure data centers worldwide in order to be able to cope with the additional workloads that you will need to deal with Gen AI. They're investing in renewable energy to cope with the additional power that these data centers are going to be taking. They have developed a brand new type of fiber optic cable to cope with the additional bandwidth. The new servers running the workload, as you can see in that center picture there, will need to run in newly designed racks because of the heat from the chips. And these racks have been designed with liquid cooling units to keep everything running properly. Then Microsoft have got agreements in place now with NVIDIA and AMD to supply the chips needed to run the AI. So as you can imagine, they're going to need a lot more servers to run this. Now, AI works best when using GPUs or graphical processing units, and supply of these is essential for the product, as you can imagine. On top of that, they've also announced that they've created their own chipsets. So there is the Maya AI accelerator chip, which you can see there, which will be added to their servers to speed up all this process. And they've also announced a Cobalt CPU, which is an ARM chip that is specifically designed for Microsoft Cloud workloads. As you can see, this is a massive investment from Microsoft. Most of us, and in my opinion, I think this is why a lot of us haven't got our hands on Microsoft 365 Copilot yet, purely because they have to get all this work carried out to allow us to get our hands on it. Okay, a next announcement from Ignite is a very simple one, but what they're saying is they are changing the naming convention for Copilot, because Copilot isn't a single product. It'll be a number of products that they design for all their suite. So you'll have different co-pilots for different tasks and different roles. So the new naming convention is going to be CoPilot will be what was called Enterprise Bing Chat. So that will now be CoPilot. You should all have Enterprise Bing Chat or CoPilot licenses for your staff, and that is available for everybody now to use. The product that most people will want to get their hands on, which will allow them to work with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc., is CoPilot for Microsoft 365. And only commercial customers with 300 licenses are able to get access for it at the moment. Then there's CoPilot for Sales, which has been around for a while, which will work with your CRM systems. CoPilot for Service, again, will work with your CRM systems, but on the customer service side of things. And that was announced at Ignite. CoPilot for Security, again, isn't new, but there are some changes in that I'll talk about later on. And another new product is CoPilot for Azure. So it will allow you to work and provide you with assistance within Azure itself. So the naming convention is going to be CoPilot is your Bing Enterprise Chat, and then the other co-pilots will be named based on what roles and products they are assisting you with. And this list will increase because they are saying they will add CoPilot to all their products. Okay, another announcement that was made is CoPilot Studio. Now, CoPilot Studio is a low-code solution, like Power Apps, that allows you to customize CoPilot for Microsoft 365. It is included in CoPilot for Microsoft 365. And it is also integrated with Azure AI Studio. So it will allow you to create plugins so that CoPilot will be able to connect to other sources apart from documents and websites that you have access to. So for instance, you can create a plugin that will connect to your ERP system. Because normally, if you asked a question of CoPilot for 365, it doesn't know about your financial data. And if you ask a question like, what's remaining of my budget, it doesn't know that information. But by developing a very simple plugin, you can connect to your ERP system and it will provide that information back to you. You can also create your own custom co-pilots, and these will allow you to create virtual agents and things that people can connect to. I can think another plugin you might find useful is the ability to connect to some knowledge bases you have, so that all your staff have access to that data as well as what you have already in AI. It is already available. And you can find a link for it in the blog that's linked at the bottom of this slide. And I know Mark is going to be adding them to your chat windows as well. So as I mentioned, CoPilot for Service has just been announced. It connects to your existing CRMs, or other applications. So you've got Dynamics 365 from Microsoft, but you've also got Salesforce it will connect to. It'll connect to ServiceNow and a load of other applications that you can connect to. So it then assists agents with their work. So it will help them in Office. So for searching for threads in emails, for instance, it will summarize Teams meetings for you. It will also allow you to query your knowledge bases and your CRM system so that you're prepared for a call with an agent. Now, Microsoft, it's just been released. Microsoft have been using it internally for the last 6 months, and they've quoted a 12% decrease in the time to respond and to complete a call based on this. So that's CoPilot for Service. It will be its own license, but it includes CoPilot for Microsoft 365 as well. Another new one is CoPilot for Azure. It's going to be your AI companion within Azure. So if you need to design and configure a new solution within Azure, you can use CoPilot to help you get things up and running. If you want assistance on features or how to do something, you can ask CoPilot and it will bring the information together for you. It will create command line interface commands to allow you to run a command in CoPilot. If in Azure, if you need more complex scripts, it will actually create a script for you as well. It can also be used for troubleshooting, where it will look at insights and provide recommendations to you based on what's going on in there. And you can optimize your Azure estate as well, where it will provide recommendations on how to save costs, how to make sure that your solution is reliable. All of that can be done with CoPilot for Azure. It's currently in preview. And again, in that blog that's linked here, you can connect to the preview to try it out. Now, just to let you know, anything in preview from Microsoft is not charged. However, once it goes out of preview into general availability, if they decide that it's a charged product, then at that stage, you will start to pay for that solution. Okay, so Microsoft's CoPilot security isn't new, and it's been designed as a tool for your SOC team or security operations team. And it gives you a holistic view of all the Microsoft Defender products, what's going on in Entra, in Sentinel, Intune, Purview. Everything is available and managed through Security CoPilot, where it can query across your whole estate. Now, Microsoft have also renamed their threat protection solution to be Defender XDR. And it will be a unified portal where you will see all these tools. However, what Microsoft have also announced at Ignite is that Security CoPilot will now be integrated into the individual point products. So into Intune, into Entra. So for instance, in Entra, you might want to search out and find out any security risks within your organization and any dodgy logins that are going on. So CoPilot is also going to be integrated into the point products as well as the main security tool. Okay, moving on from CoPilot then. There's some Teams in updates. So in January, immersive spaces and mesh are going to be made generally available. Now, what this gives you is a 3D environment for your meetings. I'm not quite sure why you'd want to have an avatar with no legs representing you in the meeting, but I'm sure some of you will find uses for it. So that's becoming generally available in January. A couple of other updates then that I find that are going to be quite useful and that I've wanted to do before. So you can now forward a chat. So if you have an interesting chat from a colleague that you think might be useful for other people, you can now forward that. The other thing is voice isolation. So Teams meetings and Teams equipment, like your headsets, your speakers, etc., have had noise cancellation built in for a long time. And that works really well. So if somebody drops something on the desk or something while you're in a Teams meeting, you don't tend to hear it. But what does happen if somebody just walks into your office and starts talking to you, they will then, the person on the other end will also hear that voice. So devices now are starting to build voice isolation built in there so that it knows that it's you speaking and it will only pass through your voice. Well, Teams is adding this functionality into Teams itself as well as into the Teams approved devices. So that's Teams. Okay, so far I've covered what I think are some of the headline topics from Ignite. However, there's been a vast amount of announcements, more than I could cover in half an hour. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to try and stop sharing. And then share my browser instead. Can you see that okay, Mark?
Yeah, all good. And I've posted the link to this in the chat as well for everyone to see. Okay,
so this is a book of news. So basically it includes everything that was announced at Ignite. So if you want to go and look at what was announced, you can do that in your own time from what they call the Ignite book of news. So for instance, if I can get my mouse to work, if I go to the table of contents, there's a whole host of different updates on different services within there. For instance, if I look at Azure and Azure Data, Microsoft Fabric is now generally available. So if you don't know, Fabric is, I'll close the table of contents. And you'll see that Fabric is now generally available within Azure. So it tells you roughly what it is. So it's an enterprise-grade data foundation and what the updates on this is and links to more information. Similarly, if I look here, Microsoft 365 apps and services. Microsoft Loop is now generally available. So it's a collaborative tool for people working remotely. So that's generally available. So, you know, everything I've talked about so far and anything else you may be interested in to see if there's any updates will be included in this book or news.